Well, I had a dream this morning, and I kind of want to stay in this, or I should say, I want to express myself while I'm still in this mood. So I had a dream. I don't really want to get into the dream, but it's about the loss of self, I guess would be the best way to describe it. You got to understand who we are, and it helps to understand who you are, not only as a person, but as a being, as a entity, so to speak. Um, there's so many people that are just full of fear, afraid of what other people will think, afraid that society won't accept them, afraid, yeah, that list goes on for infinity. Um, and so it's weird that, I should say it, or it's ironic or happenstance or however you want to say it. Everything we need, I'm sure you've heard that before, is everything we need is inside of us. It's inside of you. Everything you need to guide you, and to help you do the right thing. For me, that's one of the reasons why seeing my niece again is important, is that children are, Dr. Peterson talked about it, that the magic thing about children is that their possibilities are endless. Their potential is tremendous, right? Because there's so much time to infect them with good or bad, pettiness or integrity. And so I think that's what makes them a priority. And I think I have a very, I've been listening. I'm getting old, and it's important that I pass on my life. And I think that's why I've been doing these videos for the last year now, is that, humans traditionally have not, they don't age well, meaning that, their lives are pretty short. And you can easily study that. What's weird is that technology has both enabled us to live longer, almost too long, for what the pace that nature has given us. Typically, someone like me would be an elder in the community and well respected. And in both my family and my wife's family, that is not the case. So I am the annoying reminder of some sort of thing that they reject. And it's just it's a real weird thing, because the things, the feelings that I feel and the emotions that I have, that I acknowledge, are about truth and divinity, I guess, for lack of a better word. And these things are completely rejected by these people. And I found a responsive audience in you, the people that watch these videos, and it's really helped me a lot in my personal life, because I think we all have this inner fight, between doing the right thing and doing what is acceptable in society, and what is encouraged and acceptable in society has become so engineered to harvest our attention and our wallets, to to make the most out of us, for the bottom lines of corporations. And again, it's not that corporations are bad. It's not that technology is bad. It's none of that. Those things are misleading. The other thought that I wanted to express was that what these things are is distractions. They're illusions. So even sex, which is the primary drive for everything, when you whittle it down, that's the primary drive for everything, is to couple and to reproduce. And I think what's good about that is that it gives each generation another chance to get it right. And so, even if, and this, a lot of parents are like this, where they know that they're fuck ups, and they know that they're, they didn't get it right. And so when you have children, that's what gives you the potential, or even if you just take care of children, that's what gives you the potential to try to make things right. And that's where it gets weird. So, and I certainly don't want to say this generation, because it's always been the generation, that's the new one that gets it wrong. So what I can see in my own life and my own experiences as an uncle is when caretakers, whether that be an uncle or an auntie or a sibling or a parent, my nephew Kason, they give him his headphones and his tablet, and they leave him alone. And the problem with that is that there's no guidance, and there's no conversation between his elders, his caretakers, and his conscience. So he's left to explore on his own, and he finds Logan Paul and Fortnite and I don't even want to call it pornography, but just images that excite him in a way that he doesn't understand. And again, not that any of those things are bad. When you don't manage them, that's when they become these terrible, addictive monsters in your life that rob you of your essence and rob you of figuring out who you are and why you're here. For me, even though I'm completely a late bloomer, like I still had no idea what I wanted to do, even when I joined the Air Force, which was like 1920. I was about 20 years old when I got married and joined the Air Force. But I was willing to figure out what I was going to do, and my sacrifice was my time. I had to look at my options. Staying here in Mesa with no skills, I was just a busboy, and I knew in my heart that I wanted to do something bigger, something greater, but I had no idea what it was. Now, the experience I had in Hawaii, that really helped. But again, to translate that into something terrestrial, for lack of a better word, is quite difficult, and I still have difficulty utilizing that experience. But it comes out in things like these videos, lack of a better word, Sunday sermon that I do, and I think I just want to reassure people, because I get feedback from a lot of people that these videos really help them, and I'm really glad that they help them. It's important to realize, though, that the journey and the work, the responsibility is yours. You can't just watch a video and your life is cured. It's about utilizing this information and applying it to your own life so that you can make that connection to your heart and figure out and develop who you really are. For a lot of people, for most people, in order for them to help that greatness inside them grow, you're going to make a lot of enemies. And it's important to understand that that's okay, that that's part of the process, that once you get through that pupa stage, that, when you become that butterfly, it's a completely different world. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's a better life on the other side of that. And what's weird is it's completely different than life as a caterpillar. Let's keep using that metaphor. Life as a caterpillar is very difficult. You got to walk everywhere. You're very vulnerable, and you don't do much. All you do is consume, and then which is very much akin to humans as children. So I think the problem is that people are being poisoned and controlled and molested in a way that they never reach their potential. They never even come close. They never even glimpse that. And that's a huge loss for the world, especially when there's billions of people on this planet, and very few, if any at all, make it to the point where there's just not words for a lot of these things that I feel and I sense. And the closest word that I can come up with is righteousness. But that's such a weird word, because when you say it, immediately you think about self-righteousness and sort of preachiness, But really what that's about is about conviction and about knowing what the right thing to do is and then doing that thing. So, and it's so varied, because, even when you see it in film, right? Really, that's the magic of a lot of films, that when people say this is a great film, it's very inspiring, etc. The problem is the machine that is Disney. We'll use them because they seem to be the biggest perpetrator. They use it now to harvest your emotions, to get you to buy the dumb shit that they're selling. And it's this weird thing. It's like, we'll go back to caterpillars. Silkworms make this silk, and they've mastered it now that they can harvest them for years to keep them from becoming who they really are, and then they're just killed. It's sad, but that's what's happening to billions of us all the time, every day. And so I don't know. I'm not here to bring you down. That's not why this is for. I want you to really reach inside of yourself and figure out the best way to help you bloom. One of the things that I learned in my training is that, like many plants, the best way for them to reproduce and to be who they really can be is to prune. And so you take the good parts and you get rid of the bad parts. You get rid of the parts that are going to just sap away your energy and sap away, who you really can be. And sometimes that looks like a divorce. Sometimes that looks like abandoning your children, right? So sometimes it just means starting a new life and starting over. And of course, when I'm sure a lot of people cringe when I say that, abandoning your children. I tell you what, when you find out kids are bad, I myself, I'm like, I want to get the fuck away from this person. This is a little person that is mean and terrible, and is going to just grow up to be like a BMW owner, and all they care about is status and looking cool, and impressing other people that don't give a shit about them. And I realize that that's a waste of a life. And so when I see children like that, and especially when they're not mine, I know there's nothing I can do about it. So it's completely repulsive to me. And so, but I just right there, that moment of thought, I just didn't want to get into my personal stuff with my niece. But that's really my inspiration and my hope, is that I can help her get in touch with who she is, and to not give up on that happiness and that hope. There's so many moments that I cherish in my heart, where I went to visit her at daycare, and I was able to awaken that excitement, not just in her, but in the other kids there, that they were starving for attention and starving for play, and to know that adults they don't have to be these cold, let's learn our manners, let's, just full of rules. And of course, it's not that I want there not to be any boundaries. Of course, there always has to be boundaries. Like there was this one little girl where, we're wrestling. I'm wrestling with like this group of kids, probably 5 or 6 kids. We're having fun. Then all of a sudden she starts taking off her shirt. I was like, oh, no, no. And, you realize that somebody has been touching her. Somebody has been teaching her that this is what this is. And it's, again, what can I do about that? There's nothing I can do about this. So the only thing I can do is lay down the boundary and say, no, that's not appropriate right now, but still continue the play with the other kids who have not molested. I tell you what, this latest special from Dave Chappelle, I was really not satisfied with it. The problem is that Dave is so good at what he does. It seems like just a great conversation that you have, like a really great interview with someone. And there's this joke that he puts in there about, being molested that is so wonderfully gross and cheerful. It was amazing, and I don't want to ruin it for you. I want you to watch the special and get the full effect in your face, as he puts it. So, but I have these lucid dreams sometimes, and I'm grateful for them, and I do my best to wring out the most good in them and see what I can do to bring that to my life. And it's completely changed my whole world. And I'm very grateful for that. The downside is that it separates me from society. And many times I've become an outcast because I talk about things like this. I want to make things like this real. I want to make that human connection, that feeling that you have when you embrace another human, for any reason, whether it's an old friend or you share a common experience or even a common tragedy. That moment that you feel when you're together, and it's what you want life to be. Of course, it's not really what life is. So, but it's the closest thing that we have to that. And for a moment, when you hug that other human, it's good. It's a wonderful thing, and it reminds you of who you are. So, but I love you. I genuinely love you, all of you guys, even the guys that are surly and bitter. And write terrible comments to me. I'm glad you can express yourself, as Fred Rogers put it, and I welcome all the haterade. I am thirsty for that all the time, because I'm glad that you're at least expressing yourself rather than keeping all that garbage inside of you. It's important to purge and, again, prune, right? That's garbage that you don't need to take with you. And so if purging on my videos gets that out for you, then good for you. Let that work for you, for your benefit. So that's all I had this morning. Today's Sunday sermon is brought to you by cork, the forgotten bark that we love and cherish, and that the wine industry seems to be getting rid of. I will be doing reviews. I just been really exhausted. I've been working way too much, and I just have a lot of projects going on that are. It's just a lot of stuff. Even for my wife, she's like, "You work a lot," and I was like, "Yeah," and I don't mind it because it's important work, and I can only imagine if I was hamstringed by having a real job. That came up the other day about there's a guy that I've been working with, and he was doing recones. Mostly what he does is he finds TVs that are broken and gets them for free or for super cheap and then fixes them, which I think is a really great service for the community. And it also helps him make a good living. The problem is that he was smoking meth to sort of fuel this. And he showed up last night. He brought me this hard drive for super cheap. And I was like, thank you. It's probably hot, whatever. And, but he got fat. And I said, hey, what's up? You got fat? And he goes, well, I stopped smoking G. And, I didn't judge him. I was like, well, I hope you feel better, and I hope you're doing better. And the way that religion and, mostly just religion, puts a judgment on people for being human and trying to make the best out of their lives is just gross. And just like Joseph Smith, I prayed to God, and God said, nope, none of these religions are the true religion. So that's a joke for you Mormons. So, but the real religion is inside of you, and your personal relationship with God. Now, I really don't like making God some external thing, because they're not. That the God is you, and the God is within you, and that is who you are. And when you allow that to come out, it surprises everyone. It surprises you. It surprises society. But that's the expression of what we are and who we are. And you can't stop it. So it's going to happen eventually. But I tell you what, life is much more satisfying when you allow that, and you're able to spin that straw into gold, I guess is the best way to put it. Whether that means financial or just for your soul, the golden thread that leads through the events of our lives. So, but somebody was calling me from Mexico, and I think it fucks with the video whenever I get a phone call. So, but I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Have a great week. Happy Columbus Day. And I'm so happy that there's more attention being brought to indigenous people and the wrongs that have been made to them. It's never too late for redemption. It's never too late to do your best to patch things up with the people that you've wronged. The BLM, the real BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, the trust that is in charge of these native peoples and their resources is fucked up. And I'm surprised more has not been addressed, especially with I think it's the Interior Secretary. She's from New Mexico, and she's native. So I'm surprised more has not been done to rectify this problem. The BLM owes Native peoples billions of dollars, billions, and it's the BLM's job to harvest that and collect that from these, typically they're mining companies or energy companies that are turning native resources into money. And so it's their job to collect this money and then give it to people, native peoples. The problem is, and this is their justification, and even though it's not their point, it's not their place to say this. The problem though is that they're in the trust and they're the trustees. Is when you give these native peoples money, they just fucking blow it, and it's the saddest fucking thing I've ever seen. You visit any reservation and it's like brand new cars with no tires, abandoned, and everybody lives in a fucking trailer and nobody gives a shit, and everybody's addicted to fucking drinking Listerine, because it's the cheapest alcohol that they can buy. And it is terrible, but it's still none of your fucking business the way that they run their lives. And so if you owe them money, it's important to pay them money. If they want to destroy their lives, they're going to destroy their lives anyway. But it's not your fucking business, and it's not your place to tell another human being how to live their life. You're not God. You're not God of someone else. You're God of you. And if that's the decision you want to make for you, that's fine. But do not make that for other people. And so as sad as there's, like my friend Curtis that lives up in Chinle, I asked him, I said, he's got like 7 acres. He's very wealthy and lucky that his family has carved out that piece of land. Now, when you go up there, it's shit. It's just fucking windy desert. It's terrible. However, it's land, and it's in many senses it's beautiful. But the problem is that nobody really gives a shit in his community, and there's no bank that's going to loan you money on it. There's nobody that can mortgage it to give him the capital that he needs to develop it. And they don't even the tribe hasn't even got their shit together enough to get a casino so that people get paid, by exploiting stupid white people, which I'm all for. But again, that seems like an overwhelming problem. But what can you do? Well, you can bring awareness to it, and you can yell at the BLM to get their shit together and stop withholding billions of dollars from these native peoples that you owe them. So, but happy Columbus Day, and fuck Columbus, and fuck that bullshit. He was a piece of shit, and but the problem is he was the first one in the beginning of a society, and when that happens, a lot of the streets around here are named for good Mormons of the time, and they were here first, and so they get the streets named after them. So, but it's our responsibility to rectify that, and it helps to sometimes change names of things or pull down a monument and put it up with something that's more inspirational and more akin to who we are as humans and the struggle and the human condition that is what we're experiencing. So. But I love you. Have a great week. I'll do some, speaker stuff probably later today since I can't ship or anything like that. But I am prepping for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a big ship day. So I think I'm going to have to take at least 2 truckloads to UPS. But I love you. Take care of one another and fight for what's good. It's worth it.